Good afternoon. It's that time of day again where we highlight another local business in our community. I'm Rob Moore with Ecofine Properties, and today we have an interesting business that, for those of you that may be snowbirds and you leave for the summer months, you go back up north. What happens to your property? Who watches over it? Who looks after it? Who checks to see that, you know, the AC vents have been cleaned, that the pool guy actually did his job and cleaned your pool, or if you can see behind me here, that there's not a frog in your toilet. Who does this? Well, I'm going to introduce you to, I'm going to bring them both up in full view here. We got Andrew Levy, real estate agent with Ecofine Properties. Say hi, Andrew.
Hello, everyone.
And we have Mr. Rob Burton, owner. Let me unmute you if I can here. Rob Burton of Signature Home Watch. Say hi, Rob. Say hi. Give a wave, Rob. There he is. I froze for a second. All right, that's all right. All right, so Andrew, I'm just going to let you take it away. So you talk with Rob right now.
Wonderful. So actually, I've had a little experience with this. We had a winter home up in New York when I lived in New York, in Massachusetts. And one winter, a tree had come through the roof of the home with a huge hole in it. And because we weren't aware of it, actually, there was another month and a half of inclement weather that actually did more damage to our home. And it was because we didn't have a service like Signature Home Watch to come by there every week to make sure that anything hadn't happened that would be detrimental to the home. So that's one of the reasons why I really found what Rob Burton's company, Signature Home Watch, what they do so effective. So Rob, I'm going to ask you a few questions so you can kind of explain to our viewers what you do and how you do it. So I'm going to ask you a very basic question. What is Home Watch, and what are your typical clients and properties that you watch?
Great. Thanks, Andrew, for having us on. This is great information. So Home Watch, we define Home Watch as the visual inspection of your property's interior and exterior, looking for obvious problems. Most of these properties are furnished and unoccupied. And the things that we look for are on the inside. We're checking to make sure that the doors, the windows, they're locked, there's nothing broken. The AC is working down here in South Florida. It's on all the time. We measure temperature and humidity levels. We flush the toilets. We run the sinks. We turn on the lights, the fans. We check the circuit panel, the breakers to make sure nothing's been tripped. We're looking for water intrusion. So in your case, where something came through your ceiling, you had all the elements coming inside, that's certainly going to give you the water if it was raining. We look for mold, mildew. We check for your Wi-Fi signal to make sure that if you have Wi-Fi thermostats or cameras, they're working. And on the outside, we're looking at roof gutters, the walls. We're making sure that the irrigation system is working correctly. There are no issues. If there's any mail that's been left, either at your doorstop, in your driveway, in your mailbox, we take that in, or we put it aside where it can't be seen. That's a telltale sign that no one is there. We also make sure that your service vendors, they're the person. They're showing up every week. The landscaper, they're showing up every week. We're looking at overall security of the property. And for those clients that have, let's say, docks, boats, jet skis down here in South Florida, we make sure that the docks are in good shape and that the vehicles are attached and securely fastened to those docks. So when you say, what are typical clients? Well, it could really be anyone, but second homeowners, snowbirds, I call them sunbirds, those folks that live here full time and travel in the summertime months. They could be vacation homeowners. They could be investors that are investing in property, buying property in the area and may or may not be visiting. They could be professional athletes that travel a lot and they need someone to watch their home. Or they could be full-time residents that travel a lot.
So Rob, do you need a license, accreditations? What does someone like you, what do you have to be insured, bonded? Tell me a little bit about the certification process.
Sure, that's a great question. So we're not required to have any type of a specialty contractor's license, but we are required to have a business registration certificate. So we're located in the town of Jupiter down here in Florida. So we have a certificate, a business registration certificate with the town of Jupiter. And also we're required to have one by Palm Beach County because Jupiter is in Palm Beach County. And we also have, since we're right on the border with Southern Martin County, we have a certificate for Martin County. We're fully insured. We have multiple millions of dollars worth of liability insurance that's specific to the home watch industry. We are bonded, and we're also accredited with the National Home Watch Association, which is the North American association that provides education, best practices, code of ethics, and certification. So we are, in fact, a professionally certified home watch company.
How often, my other question is, how often do you visit a property, and how are you pricing your service? Is it the number of times a week, or is it the size of the home that usually determines the fee that you charge?
It's a great question. So as far as frequency, best practices recommends weekly visits. And the reason being is that when you leave your property, whether you're gone for a week, a month, 6 months, or a year, there's a lot that can happen to your property. If you're gone for more than 7 days, where no one's checking it within 7 days, and there's a problem, it is going to be a larger problem the longer you wait. So we highly recommend weekly visits. Now, with that said, I do have some clients, very few though, that are every other week. But the reality down here in South Florida, the biggest concern folks have is an AC failure and potentially a mold issue.
Yeah.
And mold can grow within 72 hours. So 4 or 5 days, you can start to see visible mold. So if you do have a problem and you're not having someone check on it really frequently, you could run into significant problems. As far as the cost there, Andrew, the cost is based upon the type of property, the size. So if it's a small 2-bedroom condo, or if it's a large 6,500 square foot home that's got a number of vehicles that are left behind, that may have a guest house or boats and docks and things like that, that's going to require a lot more time on property checking the home. So if you're looking for a price range, I'd be happy to give you that, which would be somewhere between $45 and $75 per visit. And again, that's all dependent upon the size of the property, what's involved, what the homeowner is asking us to do, and is there additional work or inspections that we need to do on the outside of the property. I hope that answers that for you.
That is a perfect explanation, and frankly, if I had a property after this experience with my family summer home in Massachusetts that ended up getting really disrupted in the winter, this seems like it's almost a no-brainer for someone who's a sunbird or a snowbird. Even if people are traveling for a month, people that live down here full time, if they decide to go, out of the country for a month or anywhere for a month, I mean, it seems so critical to have your service. All the AC has to do is be down for 42 to 72 hours for humidity to begin building up and mold in the walls, things you can't even see. That to me is what makes your service so important.
I would totally agree there, and I would also recommend that if you have a home or a property and it's not your primary residence, I highly recommend that you touch base with your insurance agent to find out what is your carrier's requirements for someone checking on their property. Because I've heard that some policies are written that you need to have, as a homeowner for a second property, you need to have someone visiting your property every 2 weeks or every 30 days max.
So it's a
And if
requirement.
you don't,
Insurance policies, you're saying.
correct. And if you don't, and you have a claim, there is a chance then that they can try to deny that. So I highly recommend touch base with your agent and find out what the requirements are.
I mean, that seems like such a logical thing for an insurance company to do. And it's something that a homeowner has to make sure, because yeah, if no one's there and they find out no one's been there and there is a catastrophic event, they could deny the claim.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
So my next question to you was, what types of services do you do for home openings and home closings for snowbirds?
All right. That's a great question. So snowbirds typically will come down in, let's say, October, November timeframe, and they'll leave in March, April, May, even sometimes into June. So when we open the property, we're making sure that the temperature, humidity levels are at the right settings. We'll open up any shutters that they might have or panels that they might have had installed when they left. And then we'll put things out around their patio, around their pool, to make sure that they can live in it as they wish.
So you prepare the home for them to just come right in with their suitcases and just start living.
Correct. We have some clients that will ask us to drop the temperature down to a certain level, make sure the refrigerator's on, turn on the hot water heater, because it takes about 24 hours or so to get to the proper temperature after it's been stagnant for a while. You want to air out the house so it's not a musty smell. We've had some clients who've asked us, can you stock our fridge with a favorite beverage and maybe some food, or can you make sure that the power washer comes and takes care of around the pool deck or the front walkway before we get there. So it really is show up, drop your suitcase off, and go to the beach, hang at the pool, enjoy yourself. No one wants to come down and start with a honey-do list. So we can coordinate.
You prepare the home completely according to what the owner's demands are or what they require. And they can literally just walk in and have a stock fridge, everything open, all the fans running to, that's really fantastic. Now, how about when they leave? Often, when people have to, leave, do they depend on you to also close the house?
Well, some do and some don't. Some leave and they have everything already arranged where they have everything brought inside into their garage. They've emptied their fridge. They've shut off the freezer, so there's no ice cubes that are being made. They've dropped the temperature. They've closed the shades and so forth. Others may leave on kind of quick notice, and they'll text me and say, hey, we're heading to the airport this morning. Can you close up the property? And then we go through the checklist and kind of reverse the process. And we empty out the fridge, the freezer, we do all of that, drop the temperature. And then the house is I would say winterized, if you would, and we're ready to go for the season, or they're gone for the off season, and then we're checking on their home while they're gone. Typically, it's every week.
That's fantastic. Now, how about regarding hurricanes? If, let's say, there's inclement weather or a weather event that's coming in, and they're not there, what do you do? What's your process that you do for them?
That's a great question. And we're coming up on hurricane season in just a little more than a month. So there are some of our clients obviously have impact windows, and that's awesome to have. But they do have a lot of things around the outside. So anything that could be a projectile, you need to bring in or tie down. So if it's furniture around the pool, we will bring it into their garage. Or if we don't have space in the garage, we'll put it in their family room and their playroom. If they need their accordion shutters closed up, we'll be able to do that too. If they have metal panels, we'll go and secure those to the proper openings, and then we'll reverse the process. So once a storm has passed and it's safe, we go out and we inspect every single home, whether we put hurricane panels or closed accordion shutters or not. Do a quick inspection to make sure that there's no obvious issues like AC failures, water intrusion, electrical problems, and we'll reverse the process. We'll open up the accordion shutters and secure them in addition, get the panels down and store them back where they belong. And then the clients will get a report that has pictures of all of these activities, so they know that, oh, their house was secured at the beginning and their house was now put back to original condition after the storm. And down here, every development has their own rules. Some allow you to put panels up or close your shutters for extended periods of time. Others say you can only put them up when a storm is named, and you have to remove them 7 days after the storm has passed. So you have to know what each community, what each property's requirements are. But that's a serious process, and we had to activate pretty quickly last year for Dorian.
And that brings you to my second question, but I think you answered it, is how do people know that you're actually going to their home to do work? But now it occurs to me that you take photos when you're there to let them know.
Right. So after every visit, Andrew, the client will receive an emailed report, and that report is a checklist that's been customized to their property. And we're going to notate what we observed, and if everything was okay, great. If there was a problem, there's going to be a narrative that says, here's what the problem was. We'll typically include photos that have circles or arrows, so the client will be able to then see that. It also creates a historical record. So in the event there's a problem, they can then furnish that to their insurance carrier and say, look, for the last number of weeks, we had no problem. This company who we've hired to do our home watch then noted that we had a problem, and here's the proof. It makes it very difficult then for an insurance company to deny that type of a claim. And additionally, in the report, it's date stamped, time stamped, and has a GPS stamp, so the client knows when we were there and that we were actually on site. That's really important for peace of mind for the clients.
Of course, and that takes me to my next question. Let's say that there is a problem. Let's say that something comes up and you've got to work with someone to remedy the problem. Do you work with the client's vendors, their specific vendors, to get that accomplished?
Absolutely. So during the initial intake of a new client, they fill out a property profile, and that has all the information that we need. So it details their contact information, who the secondary contacts are, if they're in a community, who the community manager is, who the security gate phone number or the guards are. And then they're going to list off who their vendors are. So obviously at the beginning, we're going to need to know who their FPL, their power company and their account numbers, and their water company and their gas company and their sewer company, all of those account numbers. But then they're going to list off who are their vendors, who's their AC vendor, and do you have a contract with them? Who's your electrician? Who's your plumber? Who's your pool provider? Who's your landscaper? And in the event that there is a problem, unless it's an emergency, we are going to have that conversation with the client to find out, how do you want us to handle it? Most times they'll say, Rob, call the vendor, schedule up the visit, and have them take care of it. In the event that the client does not have a vendor for that particular need, let's say they receive an HOA letter saying that their driveway needs to be power washed. They don't have a power washer. We'll refer them or recommend them to a local power washer who is insured and licensed to do the job.
Great. So you've got your own vendor list that you can fall back on. If they don't have a vendor that's available, if their vendor isn't available and or they don't have one. So you're pretty much locked and loaded. God
Yeah,
forbid there's something that happens.
think of us as the quarterback or the project manager.
Hmm.
We're going to manage the whole process. So we'll get those folks that the clients, those vendors that the clients have used, or we'll refer them to vendors, and then we will give them what we call, we're a key holder service. We hold the key. So if we need to let the electrician in, or the plumber in, or the AC provider, or somebody get into the garage, we have access to the property, and we will facilitate those vendors access and confirm that they've done the job correctly, and that the client then can release payment.
That's fantastic. I've got one more question, because you've really thoroughly given a great summary of what you do. It's really phenomenal. And I suggest this for any owner that either is a sunbird, a snowbird, even full-time owners when they go away for more than 3 weeks at a time. This service seems like it is tailor-made and perfect for what people need to protect their property, and to make sure if there ever is an insurance claim that you can say that the property was being watched. I think that was probably one of the most critical things that you said today, which is regarding insurance. So thank you for that. Now, my last question would be, what are other than things that we've talked about, do you do any other services that are above and beyond your basic service list?
Well, I would say some of our clients are transporting vehicles to and from their properties, so we can meet those transport trucks and organize the vehicles to get on, or to receive those vehicles down for the clients. What else might we do? We can arrange, we have like concierge service, so we can arrange for clients if they need, let's say, a vehicle to be detailed, and they want a recommendation. They need someone to meet the detailer in their driveway. We're happy to do that also. So just to summarize, in addition to the home watch, we key holder service. So we're holding the keys if we need to give access to a vendor, right? We talked about the welcome home and kind of the exit service. So when someone's coming down, we can open up their property, get it ready, drop the temperature, and get it ready for their arrival, and flip it around when it's time for the departure. And as I mentioned, the vehicle transport.
That's really fantastic. I honestly, I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't want to use your service. And I've known Rob for about 2 years now, and I would trust him with my keys without even blinking. So really, Rob, thank you very much. It's been very informative. I hope that everyone out there got a chance to understand what Signature Home Watch does. Also to understand that what's important to me is that the actual fees that are charged are so reasonable, from $45 to $75 a watch, to me seems extremely how should I say, reasonable for the services that you provide and the safety that you provide. You provide a safety net, which I think is extremely important.
And Rob and Andrew, I didn't get to pop up all the pictures. I was trying to pop them up as we were going along, but some of the pictures behind me, Rob, as you can see, that's when you were talking about the, for hurricanes, prepping the house, getting the house ready.
Right.
We have, I'm going to pull up some shots here quickly, move out of the way. There's a nasty pool, looks like filled with junk in there.
That was after the pool provider supposedly had been there.
So there's a perfect example. Someone who was supposed to have done their job, signed off on it, took payment, and guess what? Didn't do the job. So you guys are there to check this out for people. Air conditioning vents. I just have to ask the question: what's with the frog in the toilet? How did this happen? They came up through the
Yeah. So we recommend best practices is that when you leave your property for extended periods of time, and that could be uh, a week, a long weekend, we highly recommend that you shut the water off to the house on the side of the house. That eliminates any potential water problems if a let's say a toilet lets go or your washing machine hose lets go or any problems like that. So you want to make sure that you don't have evaporation either in the lines. So that's why we flush the toilets and we turn on the faucets and we fill up the P traps with water. So that prevents the sewer gases from backing up into the house and for the bugs to back up through the sewer lines. Well, that was a situation where I showed up, and even though there was water in the line and in the toilet, as you can see, it was a little surprising when I went to flush the toilet and Mr. Frog was there hopping around waiting for me. So he quickly went back down, but it happens. We have seen frogs, we've seen snakes. Thankfully, I haven't seen, but I have heard from fellow home watchers, they've had rats that come up through the sewer lines. So it's really important that you don't let your lines or your drains become dry and evaporate. And every house is a little different. The humidity levels are a little different. So you just got to be careful. And I've learned to open the seat slowly in every home.
Well, that's why my mom always taught me when you're done, you close the toilet seat. So I guess nothing comes out.
In fact, I do have one client that had been putting a 1-gallon jug of water on top of their toilet seat cover, just to make sure, because they had heard that things can push the cover up. But I assured him that he was safe.
They heard stories by the pool probably.
Well,
during the season. So then they put like large gallons of water. I'm sure that's funny.
I wanna thank you, Rob, for being with us this afternoon, and Andrew for conducting the interview. Again, another local business in our community that we need to support. He lives here. He's part of our community, looking out for the community all the time. And it's businesses like Rob's that we need to continue to highlight and support. And that's what we're doing. Every day, Monday through Friday from 2 to 3, we have businesses. So if you know any businesses out there that are looking for some free PR and just want to stay relevant. I know everybody's worried. We're stuck inside, a bunch of people, but stay relevant, showcase your business, highlight your business. And Rob, you did just that. It was fantastic. And
Thank you, Rob.
I just want to remind everyone to tune in at 3:00 today, because we'll have another local business coming up. And let me bring up, if I can here, if I downloaded it. Yes. We did this video a little while back with the NutriShop. All your proteins, protein shakes, BCAAs. Peter from the Nutrition Shop will join us at 3. He's still open. Curbside pickup, talking about getting your protein and all that good stuff. And Sophie Schneeberger will be conducting that interview. And again, Rob, I just want to thank you again for joining us. Andrew, thank you so much. And
I thank you, Andrew, and I thank you, Rob, for doing this for the community. It's extremely valuable and informative. So kudos to both of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right. And everyone, we'll see you at 3:00.